Hi, I'm Tim and welcome to WatchYouWant.com. Thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at two classics in one. This is the IWC Big Pilot reference 5420, but it is the Antoine de Saint-Exupéry limited edition. Now this model is part of a long-running series of tribute/charitable benefit watches offered by IWC in conjunction with the foundation Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. It is a youth charity that fights illiteracy worldwide. Now, the man himself was a pioneering aviator during the early 20th century. In addition to many aviation exploits, everything from pioneering long-distance flights to piloting experimental aircraft to aviation adventure. He flew fighter and recon missions during World War II. He was one of those done there, done that types, very much in the mold of a Lindbergh or an Amelia Earhart, back when aviation was truly romantic and inspiring, back when kids wanted to be superheroes and pilots, and they kind of held them on the same emotional plane. That was what Saint-Exupéry represented in the public eye. But he was also an author, and a prolific one at that. In fact, the author of The Little Prince, he's actually written the most translated French novel of all time. That's right, The Little Prince, according to some tallies, might be the third best-selling book in the history of the world. So if you haven't read that little novella about the little dude living on the asteroid, put it on your reading list. But the bottom line is this watch honors his legacy on both fronts, as an author and a philanthropist and as an aviator. Now the basic watch, the Big Pilot, joined the IWC lineup in the early 2000s, roughly 2002 with the reference 5002, and in 2006 it evolved into the reference you see here, the 5004. Now specifically, this model was in the lineup from 2009 to 2010, the latest of several Antoine de Saint-Exupéry limited editions, again, to benefit the charity. This one's unique in that it features a Radial Sunburst metallic dial in a sort of anthracite gray, featuring the classical Antoine A right there at 9 o'clock, but also a gorgeous treatment in 18-karat white gold, very heavy in the hand, beautifully rendered with applied white gold numerals. This watch has a lot of texture to it. The dial pretty much lights up when you look at it. That combination of the special edition contrasting date wheel within the dial, the applied white gold, it just has a bit more body. With the contrasting power reserve at 3 o'clock, it's a more expressive version of the pilot's watch, a bit more deluxe, I would even say. It wears a little bit more formal than the traditional 5004, and because it is a unique limited edition, it stands out. So the utilitarian aspect, perhaps, of the pilot watch line is diluted, but the upscale sheen of a premium product, I think that's actually amplified by the special edition. Now, the watch itself is one of IWC's in-house movements. This is the caliber 51110. It was actually the first of the high-beat Big Pilot calibers. This watch that you see here has the 21,600 vibration per hour beat. Now the predecessor was an 18,000, and the difference is in the regulation mechanism built into the balance, the timekeeping stability of the watch itself, and that's where the upgrades lie. But all of the traditional merits of that original IWC caliber 5000, the successor to the long-running caliber 85 automatic, all of that's still inherent in the watch. A 7-day, 168-hour power reserve with a bidirectional Albert Peloton winding system. It's everything that you've come to expect from IWC in terms of tool watch merit, tool watch durability, sound, Teutonic engineering. Remember, IWC is in Schaffhausen. It is in the German-speaking part of Switzerland. That's their engineering and craft tradition. And ever since the Pilot's special model of the 1930s, this Big Pilot look that you see here has been iconic to their premier aviation tool watch line. Now, the movement itself is rather interesting because not only is it automatic with a 7-day power reserve, it is the largest automatic winding caliber in the world. It's a massive thing to behold. Now, this one actually has a solid case back, being one of 250 Antoine de Saint-Exupéry limited edition watches. It actually has an engraving of the man himself on the case back, but within lies that same caliber 51110 with the high beat, and because IWC is a stickler for accuracy, they decided that the watch would actually be an 8-day power reserve, albeit with the last day of power locked out. The idea being that the watch could never descend into a point where its power reserve discharge was such that the mainspring became weak and started yielding uneven timing. Plus, when you pick up the watch, it's always guaranteed to have a minimum of 1 day of power reserve remaining, which means that no matter what, when you pick it up and that peloton winder starts to turn, it immediately springs into action with the full force and fervor of one day of mainspring wind. And that's the genius of the IWC engineering. Again, it's the German car for your wrist. Might even say it's the German airplane for your wrist. This being an aviation watch, and in the grand tradition of IWC aviation watches, legibility comes to the fore. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry probably witnessed watches like this from IWC during his lifetime, and it carries on that romantic tradition of pioneering aviation, a great man and a great legacy. Check out this watch. It's complete with 100% of all original accessories, and this being a special edition, some of those are actually fairly entertaining. There is a biography of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry that comes with the watch and explains a lot of his life's works, his exploits, his story, his disappearance during World War II, and many decades later, the discovery of his crashed P-38 Lightning recon plane and the proper burial honors. So he's a man who had many facets to him. He's an intriguing story. In a lot of ways, he continues to inspire people, and through the foundation, assisted by IWC and these special editions, his legacy lives on. So see this IWC Big Pilot reference 5420 Antoine de Saint-Exupéry tribute model on our website, watchyouwant.com. If you're into history, good causes, aviation, and pilot's watches, we just may have the watch you want.